Gracias. Hi, and welcome back to Awakening 2011. It's a pleasure to have you here again with us. Thank you for joining us. We wish to thank each and every one of you who make this possible, both in helping us deliver the message and also those of you who listen to us. It's important, and we thank you. You are a part of this too. We have some awesome news to share with you. We are now being broadcast on the internet on Catharsis Radio every Wednesday at 11 a.m. and p.m. Mexico City time, and 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. on California time. I don't know what that is, but you know better than I do, so you know what I mean. Gee, funny, 9 and 11, huh? All right. So, since we're going to be on radio as well, we're going to have to play a little by the rules of radio. And that means we need to have a host. If you remember the pilot, that means the last episode, I didn't introduce myself because the idea was to have the emphasis on the message and not on the messenger. But again, since we're going to be on radio now, we're going to have to play by the rules. So, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Kronos, and I'm going to be your host at Awakening 2011. Now, let's get one thing clear, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Kronos is not a guide. He is not a guru. He's not a teacher. He's not a master. He's not a messiah. He's not anything you can come up with, all right? The one and only thing that Kronos is another one who is walking this path we call the awakening along with you. Nothing more and nothing less. Is that clear? All right. So now that we have that out of the way, let's continue because it's important. I mean, the emphasis is really on the message, not on the messenger, but that's it. And we are learning as we go along. I don't think any of us knows everything there is to know, and I also wish to thank everyone who has come before me, who have shared their information and their knowledge with me, because I have learned from you, and I thank you, and really it's much, much easier when there's someone there to show you how to walk the path. And again, like Morpheus, nobody can walk the path for us. They can only show us the way. So this is what I'm trying to do also, to show you the door, but you're the one who has to go through it. Also, it makes me very happy that I'm not the only crazy guy out there who has come up to these conclusions and these views. There are many of us, and that's awesome. I want to thank each and every one of you for sharing this information. So we said we were going to start talking about what's going on in the world, and the truth is, so much is going on and has been going on that it's very difficult to talk about it because there are so many topics and they're all correlated. But if I had to, super synthesize it, I would say this. We are living right now on the period of transition from the end of one huge cycle to the beginning of the next huge cycle. And here's the trick. In this transition of closing one cycle and beginning the next, we have two main options. One is that we close this cycle and then we open the next one upwards, meaning towards more kindness, more love, more peace, all these high vibrations. Or we can close this cycle and open the next cycle downwards, meaning towards more violence, more control, more of these slow vibrations. Tough choice. And it depends on us individually and collectively. So I would say that much is for sure for these times, because there's a lot of disinfo and speculation and whatnot. But that would be like the gist of the message, And we will expand on that, of course, because as we said, we want to share knowledge and information and tools with you so that we can work, because we need to understand where we are, what's going on, but not just, like, oh, we're so screwed. No, 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 no. I mean, we have to realize the situation, accept it, but then we have to look at the tools we have and what we can do to change it. And most importantly, what we want to do to change it. Okay? So, let me share with you a few tools. And tools, by the way, are neutral. Tools they're not inherently good or bad. They depend on the use we give them. I think you get the point. I don't need to exemplify. And let me share with you some tools. By the way, all the everything we talk about here, every source will be typed in the description section below the YouTube videos for those watching us on YouTube. For those of you listening to us on Catharsis Radio, well, that's your excuse to go and check out our videos on YouTube, because it will be spelled out there, okay? And those of you who check us on YouTube, listen to us on Catharsis Radio, because there are some things going on that don't happen on the YouTube channel, okay? So just so you know, and you don't miss out. But I digress. Let's get back to the topic. So we're going to be talking about some tools today. We'll be sharing with you some tools that are found in the Kybalyon. I'm sorry if I mispronounce that. I don't know how to pronounce that in English. And that's okay, because you do. If you've never heard of this book, well, it's going to be referenced on the description section. Please go check it out if you want to learn more about this. We will not explain it here. We will just touch on it, very lightly. The first of these laws. And, well, here, let me make another point, which is from where we see things, there are two kinds of laws. There are superior laws, that means, or higher laws, that means the laws of the universe. A very good example is gravity, where I don't care if you're rich or poor, if you're pretty or you're ugly or you're smart or you're dumb, you're gonna fall and hit the floor anyway. Okay, they don't discriminate and they apply to everyone. And let's add, they can be bent if you understand them. Okay, but this again applies to everyone. And then there's the other kind of laws, which are what I call the minor laws, and those are the laws of men. Every law that says that you have to do this, or you can't do this, or you must do that, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those kind of rules, let's not kid ourselves, they don't apply to everyone evenly, okay? There are some who are exempt from these laws, and that's not really fair, because it doesn't apply to everyone. Whereas in the higher laws, if you understand the rule, you can bend it. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? The point is, we're going to be sharing with you today some of those higher laws or universal laws contained in the book the Kybalyon. Okay, so go check that out. The first one talks about unity. I will not be touching upon that any more than saying it talks about unity, because I feel that's important. And the ones we'll be discussing today or using today are the law of correspondence, as above, so below. All right, that's the first one. The second one we'll be using today is the law of duality, which talks about opposing poles, extremes that apparently are completely different, but are actually two extremes of one same thing. For instance, hot and cold, they are opposites, and yet they are both temperature. So, and this ties in with another hermetic law called gradation. There are degrees. So there's not just cold and there's not just hot. There are various degrees in between. Okay, so let's not just look at the laws individually, but let's look at them together and use them. And the next one and final one we're going to talk about today is the law of cause and effect. All right, so we're going to be taking all these tools together, and we're going to add another set of tools, which are the four elements of the alchemists. And those are basically earth, air, water, and fire, and each one of those represents a different plane of existence, or component, if you like, which would be fire means spirit, air means mind, water means emotion, and earth means the material or physical. So when the alchemists told us that the human being is made up of the four elements, well, they might just have been talking in code. And so I just told you what the code means, so bear that in mind too. Alright, so now we've covered the tools we will be using. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the world today. If you heard the pilot, the last episode, and you remember, if you don't remember, if you didn't catch that one, please go and check it out on our YouTube channel. It contains important information that we shall not be repeating here. So, like I mentioned there, these are very important times. So what's going on? What do we see in the world around us? Well, we see violence, we see poverty, we see conflict, we see all these low and slow vibrations. So where does this all come from? Well, if we take a look at one of the laws we just discussed, as above so below, and we add a little width to it and tilt it 90 degrees, then we get something like as inside so outside, which, like I told you, it's backed up by it's backed up by physics, with what physics calls resonance, which basically means that there are many vibrations, but you can only be in one at a time. And when you're in one specific vibration, all you can perceive is that same vibration. You cannot see the other ones, much like tuning your radio over to Catharsis Radio. You only get that one, but you're not listening to all the other ones, which are still there, but you can't tune into them at once. So that whatever we see on the outside is very likely also on the inside, but not always. So in this case, I would recommend that you check out Greg Braden's work. Remember, the name will be on the description section below the YouTube video. Greg Braden talks about these vibrations. Please check out his work, because I won't cover it here. And this also has to do with cause and effect. How many of the things that we see on the outside are an effect of which I am the cause. All right, it's about, again, taking responsibility back and empowering the individual. You know, you have the power to change your life. Please remember that and believe that and know that.